Most people will show you that they bought a park, what it cash flows, what it looks like today. I'm going to show you and break down a real life example, phase one of an infill park that we have. It's 140 unit. We're putting in 4 units at a time, all right, and 25K all in per spot. The reason I'm doing 4 units at a time is because phase one, I wanted to prove it out, right? I wanted to make sure what the numbers look like exactly. I've done it before, but I wanted to make sure because every market's different, every area is different, the economics are different, and plus, we can't leave units sitting vacant for that long, or they get broken into. Hell, these got broken into during the process. So you don't want a bunch of vacant units in low economic areas sitting around. Anyway, I wanted to break this down for you, start to finish, so you knew how it looked for infill. And for you that, if you don't know what infill is, you got an empty spot, you put you put something in there, right? And to make money. That's infill, right? You hear new construction people talking about infill lots and stuff. Anyways, so I had to source 4 units, all right? And I did that myself. I've got a wholesaling background. And by the way, if you this is the first time you're hearing of me, my name's Travis Wells, and I own and operate mobile home and RV parks. Prior to that, I had a big single family portfolio and ran a wholesaling company for single family. Now, these days, I'm mostly focused on mobile home parks and RV parks. We still do some wholesaling. I still wholesale parks, still wholesale some single family, but not on business level. Not like I was. That's not my main objective. Anyway, what the hell that was. Let's get into it. So, I had to source 4 units. All right, well, first unit I sourced, it was from a guy that I trained to wholesale mobile homes. All right, he brought it to me. I did all the paperwork, structured it. It was a seller finance deal, $400 a month, $9,000. All right, what that $9,000 turned into was $5,000 to move it. All right, so I told you my budget's $25,000 all in, cash wise, to fill a spot. All right, so what is that? Now we're at 14,000, right? Let's call it 14,000 by the time it's set and everything else. Let's call it 14,000, and then we have plumbing and electrical. All right, so the electrical, the city said, hey, you've got to have these new pedestals, aka like the boxes where the meters go. We don't like your old ones; they're outdated. So we got 4 spots done with the pedestals on the first project, or 3. I'm sorry, 3. No, they were only doing 2. I'm sorry. It's been a long project. 2 spots for about $6,000. All right, meaning the new pedestals would cover 2 spots for $6,000. All right, well then the wire still has to be ran to the house, and the breaker box inside the house has to be up to code. All right. So we had to spend another, $3,000 for that unit. So now we're at 16,000. All right. Then we have plumbing. All right. The plumbing's another $4,000 to reroute, hook up, all that. And here's the thing, is why I say reroute. I don't know if you've ever bought like an old home, like a 1950s home, and it's got like cast iron. That's what this park has a lot of. So we had to reroute it and run new pipe and all the stuff. Anyways, ended up being like 4,000. So I'm like 18,000 all in so far. And then it doesn't have, the AC unit's got to be hooked up. This one's got a central unit. So when you pick up a unit that has central, they typically drain. From my experience, you might have a different one, and there might be tips and tricks or whatever. We're learning as we go too. We move a lot of homes and stuff, so there's always learning lessons. So before they move the AC unit, they got to drain the Freon, the stuff that makes the damn thing cold, right? Makes the air cold. They got to drain all the Freon, and if you haul that much Freon, it's like takes a hazmat. It's really expensive, but you have to fill the Freon back up when it gets there, it won't work. And you gotta have somebody licensed to unhook it, right? Which costs money and a couple $100. And then you gotta have somebody licensed to hook it back up, which costs money, a couple $100. The Freon is what's expensive. I forgot what it was per pound or whatever, but it's, call it $500, $400 I think per unit. It's $400. So we're, $600 in on the AC, whatever. We're just under 20,000 all in, operational, everything on that unit. All right, so we met our budget. We did really well on that one. Second unit comes around. It's an auction unit, or it hasn't went to auction yet. The wholesalers bought it, and they didn't know what they were doing, and they couldn't get clear title. They didn't know how to sell it. They didn't know anything, right? So anyways, they weren't paying lot rent. The owner before them wasn't paying lot rent, so it got sent to the auction house. Then they reached out to me. Well, they reached out to me right before it got sent there, and I helped coordinate everything, and I bought it for like $8,000. Problem was, it was a 2-bed, 1-bath. And I say problem because it was really nice. Like, it was remodeled inside and stuff. $8,000 sounds great. Some title issues, no big deal for me. But it sounds, and on that, you can sell mobile homes on a bill of sale too, just so you know. But on that is, I had a lot of trouble filling that unit, because it was a 2-1, but we did fill it. And I'll go over the numbers. Actually, I'll go through them. Last unit we sold for $30,000 on a rent to own at $975 a month. There's only like a couple $100 paying principal down every month, so we end up with more than that. And on this unit, we sold it for $30,000, $975 a month. Same kind of deal. Park gets $475 for lot rent. We charge $100 water. Even though we have a separate meter on there, we found it easier to collect. Since we have to charge for the water, we found it easier to collect if we roll it in. $100 for water. Electric separately metered through the electric company, so we don't have to worry about that. So, they're paying, $300 and something bucks, whatever, call it $400 towards principal every month. Same thing on the second unit, structure and price-wise. We did that on all the units. Except one we sold for $59,000, but we kept the payment at $975 a month. We did 0 down payment for the tenants because it's a very low economic area. So second unit comes around, get it from the auction house. Pain in the ass because the movers had to be there at a certain time. We have to get pictures, make sure everything's right. Auction house only takes cash, so we have to wire the cash to somebody to pay them, trust them, all the stuff, lots of work, right? We get that same kind of cost to set up. We actually end up at $25,000 on that one because that one ended up needing, like, the hot water heater fell in transport. Some stuff got damaged, like the flooring cracked open, like all sorts of crap. So we end up incurring, several $1,000s more expense transporting that one. We're still around $25,000 on that. All right, next one comes around. All right, it's wholesaler brings it to me. It's sub 2. Well, the owners need it out, right? They didn't have any money. They're moving. So, give us $1,500. You can take it over. What's your balance? You owe $29,000. All right, no problem. It's like a 12% interest rate, but their payment's $450 a month. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm good with that because my lot rent's $975. Wholesaler, I'm like, I'll give you $2,000. So we're $3,500. We're $3,500 out of pocket just, to acquire it. And we get their portal information so we can log in. I do the paperwork where I get the power of attorneys, all that. And then I decide to get insurance on it, which is a pain in the ass. Sub 2, at least in my experience. People don't want to take the POA. They want the seller to actually sign, even though you have a POA, all the crap. Couldn't get it insured forever through a lot of people because it was in this certain county that people didn't like. And it was a cheap mobile home, even though it's nice. Like, it's probably a $60,000 mobile home. We got it for $29,000. Super nice. This one's really nice. Got it insured. It didn't need any repairs, but check this out. Mover moves it. It's like $8,000 to move this one because it's like far away. It's like it's far away. All right. And the farther you have to move these homes, the more they cost. So it's like $8,000 to move this damn thing. They get it there and park it, tie it, level it. They do that. They level them and then they'll tie them down. Cool, no problem. We sell it, $59,000, rent the home. People haven't moved in yet because it needs electricity and all that. So obviously they're going to move in the following month. Well, AEP's like, hey, we're not. Oh, and we pay another $6,000 for pedestals for. Even though we're not hooking up more units, it's on a different grid because we're slowly doing all this. And my plumber told me, hey, put it in this spot because it'd be easier for me to do the reroute because we have the plumbing, right? I'm like, okay, cool. We'll save some money on the plumbing. Well, the movers put it too close to the power line, which we don't know. I'm doing this virtually, right? I have an on-site manager, but she doesn't know either. It doesn't look dangerous or anything. It doesn't look like it's too close to us. But power line companies have a 15-foot easement, and it's got to be at least 15 foot away. So we have to call the people back out there. I'm holding off payment on the electrician because I feel like they should have told us, right? I'm pissed at the mover. He's like, oh, I don't know, even though, like, you should know. So I have to call a different mover, and they charge us another $2,500, right, to move it because they got to unstrap it. They got to unlevel. It's a whole day's work. And they got several guys doing this. And I tell them, hey, specifically, before you move this thing, or right after you move it, but before you strap it down, before you level it, the real work, right? I want you to send me all sorts of pictures. That way I can send to AEP. I can send to the electric company and make sure this is a good spot because we can't move this a third time. And he's like, okay, no problem. And I don't hear from him for like half the day. I'm like, hey, can you send me those pictures? He's like, sure. Never get them. And then at the end of the day, he sends me pictures and he's like, hey, your electrician stopped by and told us where to put this thing. I was like, I specifically told you. I specifically told you to send me pictures. And he's like, well, sorry, I didn't. And I'm like, well, sorry, you're not getting paid until it's connected. So they threw a fit and stuff. But it ended up working out because we called AEP out there and they were like, oh, okay, this is good. End up paying them. Everything's good. We're probably $3,000 out on that one because we got to rehook up the plumbing too because that was hooked up. We got somebody that did it for like $400 though, so $2,900 extra, on that one. So total, $8,000 move, $3,000 out up front, $11,000, $3,000 more, $11,000, and then we had the pedestal, $17,000. We're under $20,000 out of pocket on that. We have a $29,000 note, but I'm okay with that because that's not cash out of pocket. My goal is cash out of pocket, $25,000 or less per pad. And then we had, and here's the thing I didn't mention on the other two is I paid $2,000 if a wholesaler gives me the deal. So that first one, the dude I taught the wholesale, I paid him $2,000 too. And then on the second one, I didn't pay them a wholesale fee because they owned it. On the next one, this lady, I actually got this from a single family lead company, right? This lady put in their mobile home, and they usually throw those leads away, and they usually give you refunds. But I'm like, I'll check it out. She owes $12,000, has $4,000 in back taxes. Her payment's like $400 a month. It's like a late 90s model unit. You go in there and it's nice. It's an old lady lived there, so it's nice. It just has green carpet, original carpet. So I'm like, we could just swap this carpet out, for some vinyl flooring, and it'll look great. So that's what we did. Got that one sub 2 also. So I paid her back taxes, which was like $4,000, and I didn't have to pay any fee because I sourced it. And we got it over there, and we probably spent, which I budgeted for all this, we probably spent about $5,000. Putting the new flooring in and fixing a few things to make it nice. And then the transport was like $5,000. So we did pretty good on that one, but we still had the plumbing costs, we still had the electrical costs, but we didn't have the new pedestal cost on that one. So that was less $6,000. And if I'm like, whenever I'm acquiring these, since I'm the GP, I have a charge too. My acquisition fee is $2,000 or $2,500 because I'm sourcing all these. So that's part of the cost too. And then when I sell them, I have a cost too, which is like $2,000 for the dispo because I have a team that has to sell them, rent to own, right? It's time, energy, money. I got to pay them. So all in, I think only one we went over budget. I think we were at $28,000 on one of them. I don't remember which one. Two of them didn't have central units, so we put those big ass window units in that have heating and cooling, but those are expensive. They're like almost $1,000 a piece, right? So because they work really well, and then if they want more smaller ones, they could put them in the home. But we put those in. I want to say maybe not a full $1,000 a piece, because now I'm remembering, I think we got them both for $1,500, and then I paid a guy to install them for $500. So we're like $2,000 for 2 trailers. Yeah, so $1,000 a piece for each trailer for those 2 ACs. So if a unit doesn't have central, that's okay. You can use those big window units. It's going to cost you. So I wanted to kind of run through all of that. So that being said, pretty much, let's call it like $110,000 all in. I think the numbers were for 4 pads, and we created 975 times 4. So, just under $4,000 a month for $110,000. That's a pretty good return. And not only that, the rent to own, we're not going to have to be replacing stuff. There's no repairing toilets, nothing like that. Tenants take care of everything. And, that whole amount doesn't go towards our principal. So, we'll be getting that for the next however many, 10 plus years. I don't know. I've got to do the math, but that's how we're setting that up. We're about to do phase 2. And now that we have the vendors in place, which is a big deal whenever you acquire a park. Now that we have the vendors in place and we have the city on our side, all that. And by the way, separate charge here from the city is we had to spend another $17,000, but this was for the whole park. The city said, by the way, we don't want our water meters there anymore. You need to remove them and put your own. I'm like, that, you can't just do that. And they're like, yeah, we can. I'm like, all right, whatever. I need to be on the good side of these people. I'm not going to fight the city, over this. I need them on my side because I want this park to work. So anyways, we end up spending that extra cost, but that was for the entire park. So now we have all of our own meters. Eventually everybody will just be on a flat cost, probably $100, but we're running a cost average across the park now because we haven't seen a bill. They were paying the water company directly. The water company just the city got tired of, they're paying the city direct. City got tired of collecting from all those tenants. It's a big park. So anyways, those are all the costs, and that's how a value add project, or at least mine, is looking so far. I hope that gave you some good insight, and I just wanted to be real, give you the real. It's a lot of work. I don't know how many hours I've put into it to create that revenue, to create that income, but I'm about to do it again, and it'll be a lot easier this time because I have all the vendors in place. I have the city on my side. I have all the city officials, people on my phone now. They know me, so it'll be much better. All right, my name's Travis Wells. Once again, this is the Property Profits Podcast. I'm now at the gym, and if you'd like to follow me on social media, you can get me on Facebook. DM me there if you need to talk. I respond to those. Instagram, YouTube. Follow, like, subscribe. Tell your friend about this podcast if you like it, and I hope to see you on the next one.